This is just a beautiful summer. Aren't we just having the best summer ever? If you live in the Atlanta area, you guys know how unpredictable the weather is, but the weather has been pretty good lately. Let's be honest here. Anyway, it's your boy Walter Sanders, aka Cloudtavius Brown, back with another video. This video, I'm gonna take y'all on the process of how I edit my videos. If y'all don't know, I am a photographer in the Atlanta area, and I will be moving to the DMV area in the fall for school. So I'm super excited, but I'm just gonna take y'all on my process and have a kind of a tutorial of how I edit my photos. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so now I am on my laptop, and the first thing you guys want to do is go ahead and open up Photoshop and create a new project. After you create a new project, I usually just keep these the same. I'm going to name this, I don't know, editing tour for tutorial. Tutorial, right? And I usually keep this about the same, 7.5 Revolution 300 pixels. Keep these the same because I change up the composition all the time, so it doesn't really matter what you start your videos as long as you export it as the composition that you want it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create. And after I hit create, I usually just drag my file. So I'm opening up my file. This is the file that I want. I drag my file all the way over here, right? I drag my file straight onto the project. So it should open up, yep, the Camera Raw editing screen. So this Camera Raw editing screen only opens up automatically when you shoot in Camera Raw, which I highly recommend everybody shoot in Camera Raw because you can just get more colors, you can get more dynamic range, you can fit around more with everything. So I highly recommend. I wouldn't shoot in just JPEG or anything less than JPEG, definitely not. So I'll go ahead and shoot in Camera Raw and JPEG just in case I have that JPEG file, just so I can send to a client and see if they want this photo edited. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with editing my Camera Raw stuff, just how it is. So this is what I start off doing. I just do small tweaks, right? So what I really want to do is kind of make this picture more of a warmer kind of neutral color vibe-ish. So yeah, I see a lot of colors right now, and I like the colors, but kind of put this temperature up, put the greens down just a little bit, just a really little bit, and micro adjustments is what we go for. Micro adjustments are amazing, and it just helps. You don't want to overdo it. So micro adjustments is where it's at. So I think the exposure is good. Sometimes I fit around the exposure. I'm trying to underexpose it because her skin's a little bit overexposed, just a tad bit. Increase the contrast just a little bit. Highlights, her shirt is a little blown out, so I'm going to bring the highlights down just a tad bit. Shadows are pretty good. Maybe up it a little bit. Nah, I can figure that out later. The whites, again, that shirt, I'm going to bring that down just a little bit. Clarity, I don't really mess with clarity or anything the first time around. And the haze and stuff like that, I might bring the vibrance down just a little bit because her skin looks a little bit too orange for me. So yes, that's just my micro. I don't go into all this yet. This is going to be in the future when I actually start doing other stuff. So let's go ahead and hit OK. After I hit OK, it will convert this into a smart object, but that doesn't really mean much. I'm going to make this all the way up. Put this into the center, hit that. After I do the first micro adjustments, I go ahead and start doing my composition, because composition is really the first thing that you see. Composition is really the first thing that you see when you look at a picture. You don't really notice it, but plays a big factor. So I go ahead and hit C for the crop tool. I will go over here, hit original ratio, and I'll adjust it from there. I usually keep original ratio just because it keeps everything in order and the set ratio that it came into. So I kind of like the 3/4 vibe. If you don't know what 3/4 vibe is, see this line right here? Picture their body should be around split right on this line, or maybe a little bit further or a little bit back, but I usually love the 3/5 line. So I'm going to go ahead and hit it right here. Her arm is a little bit far out, but I can get around that. So I like that composition. Her head's over here. She gets some room over here. That's just some empty space, I like to call it. So that's cool. And the next thing I like to do is go ahead and do touch-ups with her face, right? This is my friend Emily. If y'all don't know Emily, Emily is a great person. I love her with all my heart, and she let me take pictures of her, which is awesome. And she has beautiful skin automatically, so there's not going to be a lot of editing to do here. But there's a couple spots that I want to take out. You know, some eyelashes that I want to improve, and let's just get into it. So the first thing I do when I want to do a touch-up is I usually go here. I should have a hotkey for it, but I haven't set up one yet. I left-click here or control-click here. I go down to Patch Tool. So the Patch Tool, all it does is copy and paste-ish. It's kind of like the Stamp Tool, but it keeps the texture of what it took away from. So I'll show you here. You have this. And okay, change this to a regular object, not a smart tool, and I move it over. So the texture on there is still the same, but the texture is still the same, but the pimple is actually removed because we cloned it to a empty spot of her skin. So I usually just go around her head, and I'm actually moving these into specific spots, because where you move it is where you clamp it to, and it seems like I'm doing it stamp it to, I'm sorry, and it seems like I'm doing it really fast. I'm gonna just speed through all this. I could be doing it better, but I just don't want to make this video super long. But it's gonna seem like I'm putting it into random places, but I actually have an order of what I'm putting into. I want to keep the lighting the same. That is the main thing. You don't want to take this spot and like move it over here into darkness, because then see that spot is darker than the other thing. So I'm gonna control Z that. Ooh, control Z that. So it moves it into a space that is similar lighting. So I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna do all of her face, and after I'm done, I'll stop the speed ramp. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so now I'm done with the retouching of the face and the body. As y'all saw, that I didn't just stick to the face. A lot of people just stick to the face and only patch the face. But there's other areas that you have to patch up, as like her legs are exposed, her arm is exposed, her chest, and her neck. And a lot of people miss the neck area, and sometimes the face and the neck connects together and should complement each other and shouldn't look different. So I just go ahead and do the whole body, and as y'all saw, she has some bruises on her leg. I just got rid of those real quick, and yeah, I think I like how it looks. Yeah, so the next thing I do is, after I do that in only one file, so that's kind of like my before file, because I don't think I did too much editing, too much shifting. But after this, I make sure I control J. This is the same technique that one of my favorite YouTubers, Jessica Cavesi does. She does beautiful editing. You guys should go check her out. I'll leave a link in the bio so you can check her out. She does amazing editing, and I kind of have her style. Well, her old style. She kind of shifted now, but yeah, I kind of learned her editing style from her and have my own unique twist to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and control J. And I duplicated that same picture. So these two are the same thing. If I hide it, it should look the exact same. So that's cool. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and fix these loose strand ends. And the way I fix it in different ways. I think this time, since I think this time I'm going to go ahead and clone stamp this, but sometimes I will take a whole razor tool and just take the whole thing out. Sometimes I can just do this and move it with this, which, see, that worked pretty well. Actually, I might just do that the whole time with these, and as I get closer to the hair, when these hairs get a little thicker, I'll start clone stamping. So I'm going to go ahead and patch these out, these loose ends out, and I'll get back to y'all.
I needed.
Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and do the clone stamp. So to go to the clone stamp, again, I don't have a shortcut for this either. And I'm sure there's a regular shortcut for it. But I'm going to go ahead and... Actually, the clone stamp's right here. So I'm going to go ahead and clone stamp it. The way to clone stamp is I usually just zoom in, which is Command and the plus button. And I go ahead and hit Alt and get a zone that I want. So I want this and just fill that in. I use one of these soft brushes. So I'll come over here, put the size down, and hardness 0, because you do not want, let me show you, like hard. No, you don't want that. You want it to be as soft as possible. So I'll put the hardness down to 0, and I use a soft brush, one of these soft brushes like that, the soft clone stamp, and I go ahead and do it that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and clone stamp again. You Alt, hold, and then keep clicking. I keep alting. It's kind of like the patch tool where you have to keep pulling from different places. You don't have to keep alting because, you know, if you see this plus button right over there on your right, it's pulling from that area. So it moves as you move, which is pretty cool. But I'm going to go ahead and clone stamp some of this. I'm not going to clone stamp all of it because I want to have some natural flow to it, but I'm going to clone stamp a pretty good amount of it. So let me get into it.
There is a place inside my head where I walk away from all I know. Don't know where it all will end, but I just
Awesome, guys. So I went ahead and clone stamped everything. As y'all saw, I turned up the hardness just a little bit. I turned it up to 15% so I can just get it done quickly. And I'm going pretty fast, so this video is not 50 minutes long. So I went ahead and clone stamped everything. And the reason why I split it into different things is because if I don't like it, first thing, I can just delete it and start over. I can do it again. And I can go here to the opacity and lower it down so you can see it starts coming back just a little bit just for that layer. But I kind of like it all gone, and again, that's all out of focus, so it doesn't matter how exact it looks behind. So that's why I just clone stamp the rest of it. I think it looks really good, and let's go into the next thing. Before I go into the next thing, I like to go ahead and Control J just to make another copy. And I like to go ahead and start on this copy. So after I finish with this copy, I can merge these together. That probably didn't make any sense, but I'll explain it in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and work on this layer right here. And I'm going to go ahead and work on my levels now. So I like to do an S-curve. An S-curve is a point here, a point here, a point here. The reason why they call it an S-curve is because they put highs high and the lows low. I'm actually going to move that. And it's going to be a very slight adjustment. So it's going to be like that and like that. Alright? Boom. Just to give it a little bit more of a deeper color and deeper contrast vibe. So I love how that turned out. I might turn down the opacity a little bit. Like I was saying before, I'm going to go ahead and merge these layers because I like them already. The way you can merge that is shift click. Have this highlighted, the curves highlighted, and then shift click the copy right under. And then control click those. And then go ahead all the way down to merge layers. So those going to merge that layer. So that's going to be your curves layer. Alright. So again, now we have 3 copies. This is going to be our before and this is going to be our after type thing. So that's just how I keep up with everything. That's how my organization works. So I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next thing. So the next thing is my favorite thing by far is dodge and burning. I love dodge and burning. It's my favorite thing to do, and I think it makes a picture. It literally makes the picture. It makes the picture pop so much. It makes the picture more 3D, and it just makes the picture look gorgeous. So I'm going to go ahead and hit curves twice. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make the highlights. So we're going to dodge, and then I'm going to name this. Go ahead and name this. Dodge. Okay. Dodge. And I'm going to go ahead and name this. Put these at the lows. And then name this burn. And then I go ahead and go back to dodge, hit Control I to invert it, and then go back to burn and hit Control I to invert that. Oh, sorry. Command I to invert that, and then go back to dodge and hit Command I to invert that. So that's that. And what we're gonna do is, this kind of gets a little bit complicated, but I'll walk y'all through it. So I go ahead and get my paintbrush. Oh, sorry, wrong thing. Where's my paintbrush? My paintbrush right here. And I make sure I have a soft brush. I'm going to reduce the size a ton. I don't know why it was that big. And hardness, I'm going to move it up to about 15. And I'm going to make sure I use a soft brush. So I'm using a soft brush right now. And I can tell I'm using a soft brush because that's what I always use. And you can see the picture up here that it's a soft brush. So anyway, so I go ahead and do that. And this color right here, in this area right here, should be white. Because white means that you're about to paint. Black means that you're going to reduce. So you're going to take off. So you see black over here. As I paint on the screen, white should come up. So that means that's the area I dodged at. So I'm going to go ahead and have the dodge. And I'm just going to complement. I'm not going to overproduce, but I'm going to complement her highlights, her natural highlights that she has on her face. As you can see, the sun was coming from this direction. So it was coming here, and I was hitting her that way. And you can see some fall off over here, where it's a little bit darker. All right? So we're going to work with the sun. Right? We're going to go ahead and zoom into her face and start literally painting highlight on her face. So we're gonna make it a little bit bigger. I like to start on the forehead and work my way down. So I'm gonna go ahead and lightly color her forehead in. I'm just tapping. I'm not holding down the point. I'm literally just I'm fluffing. Like you have a makeup and you're like fluffing. That's literally what I'm doing. Just patting on her face with a wide brush. All right. And then I like to get a little bit smaller. See, her cheekbones have natural highlights as well. I'm actually going to increase that hardness just a little bit. That's natural highlights. So I'm going to increase those highlights right here. I'm going to increase the highlights right on her chin right there. All right. And then I like to have a nice highlight on her nose, just to bring out her nose a little bit. And also, this ridge part of her nose. Yeah, do that again a little bit wider. The ridge part of her nose. Just so it can have this nice fall off. If you guys see that it's pretty harsh right now, we're going to fix that at the end. So, I also like to see the natural highlight in her eyelashes. I love this part. Just in the corner of her eyes. I think it makes her eyes pop a lot. And we're going to go ahead and also give pretty good amount of highlight in her eye, in the whites of her eyes. So go ahead and do that. Right here. I'm putting a good amount right there. Again, the more you press down, the more you go over it, the lighter it's going to get, just because you're using such a soft brush with the hardness at 15, I believe, right now. So I like to get the whites of her eyes pretty white. And then I like to go one little fluff of her eye, about the size of her eye, right on there. One or two fluffs. So just brighten her eye up a little bit. Okay, awesome. So I think that looks really good. And then I like to go ahead and go at her eyes. Just down here. Okay, so for some reason, my camera stopped recording. So I don't know at what point it stopped recording, but yeah, it stopped recording. So you're not gonna see me for a minute, but you see me now, so it's okay. Let's get back into it. Sorry. I'm over here going insane. Let's get back into it. So now I am actually just going to go over her eyes just a little bit. Like just a little crease of her eye. And I'm just going to follow it and bring out that just a little bit. Right over and under her eye. It should sparkle. It helps bring out that sparkle that you put of makeup over there. And I like to go over her eyebrows right here and under her eyebrows just a little bit. Just a little bit. Again, micro adjustments are exactly where you want to be. You don't want to be like caking up her face in Photoshop. You do not want to be doing that because she's gonna look like a clown, and then it's not gonna turn out well, and you're gonna be upset, and she's gonna be upset. Your client's gonna be really upset because it's like, why do I look like a clown when I didn't put that makeup on? Blah 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 blah. You don't want to hear them talk, so you don't want to cake up the face like that. This is actually a little bit too harsh for me, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and actually before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and lighten up just her shoulder, just some stuff like maybe her knee, maybe her leg a little bit. This part close, looks a little dark. Her leg, her inside legs, just to brighten it up a little bit, right? So I like that. Pops out the highlights. Right now you probably like, what is going on? Her face looks so bright. It looks so like in your face. Like, what are you doing? Let me put on the burn, and you can see the contrast and see the depth it creates with doing this technique. So let's put on the burn. Let's go ahead and put on the burn first before we adjust any more of the dodge. And go ahead and do the same thing that you did with the bright side, but with the dark side. So you're going to go ahead on this side of her face and just kind of, ooh, that is way too much. Let me decrease her burn. There we go. So, again, you're just going to go ahead and follow these. This is actually a little bit still too harsh for me, so I'm going to lower the harshness. Yeah, there we go. Just going to hit these dark spots a little bit. Alright? And you want to make sure you hit the dark spots and don't hit them too hard, because darkening an area, it gets so much contrast, but it also can be very destructive to your image. So you want to make sure you do it in moderation. Make sure this side, I like to get her hairline, because hairline helps define like where your hair ends and where your hair starts. So it looks very flattering on a woman to have like her hairline a little bit darker, but her forehead a little bit lighter, but not greasy like. You understand, right? Hopefully. Okay, so then after that, after I hit this side pretty well, I like to do a couple things with the eyebrows and the eyelashes. So I want to make this pretty small, and actually like I'm painting on her eyebrows, her eyelashes, excuse me. So it's like I'm painting on her eyelashes. I just go up and down, just like this. Go over it a couple times, and then I go and just right above. See, remember I put the highlight right on this line, right above it. I like to, right on that line up there, I like to put the dark. I like to make it a little bit darker so you can see the contrast in your eyes. If you can see the comparison in this eye and this eye has a lot more like light on it and not a lot of contrast. So go ahead and decrease that. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side that I did on the other side. I'm probably gonna speed ramp this, so let's do this. Alright, now I'm gonna go ahead and do her eyebrows. Her eyebrows are already pretty contrast, so I'm probably not gonna do a lot, but I'm gonna do more towards the edges, because remember I had the highlight up here. And once you want to have highlight, where you have highlight, excuse me, you kind of want to have a contrast of darkness. So I'm gonna right here, just a little bit darker, just a very little bit, very little bit, just like that. Should be good. She has really naturally darker eyebrows as well. So, so yeah, that's that's that. That's how you do that burn. And I love to do dodge and burn on her body, like on her chest and stuff. See, especially in these shadows and stuff like that. So I like to like just darken these shadows underneath her chin. And a really big thing that I like to do is to make her lips, make her lips bigger. I like to put a little bit of burn, a little bit of darkness underneath her lips, and you can see it kind of looks like she has her lips plopped out a little bit more, and it looks more flattering. So let's go ahead and do that. Zoom in. Just right under here. That's good. Okay, then I'll just scan of areas if I need to dodge some more, if I need to burn some more. Now I'm looking at it. Now that I'm looking at it, I kind of want to go ahead and take off some of this and reapply it, because I don't think I applied that. So to take off something that you put on, you want to paint it back over with the black. So you're going to hit X, and it's going to switch down here, and black should be in front. And now you're going to be painting back the black, or painting back regular, in a way, what you were before. So I just did that, and then I'm going to hit X again, and it's going to flip back. Okay, now I'm just going to reapply it in a little bit better manner. There we go. And this, there we go. Get some more fall off on her face on this side, so it can be contrasted. A little bit on her nose, a little bit, and this part of her eye, maybe. Yeah. A little bit under her chin, her neck bone. And I think that's good. Maybe a little bit of contrast next to this grass, because I kind of like that. I like to put a little bit darker areas on where the material changes. So like like when I did her forehead on her hairline, that's where her hair met her forehead, met her skin, and this is where the grass kind of meets her leg. So I kind of like to add a little bit of darkness there, just how a little contrast thing. All right. So that's looking good. I think that looks really good. Yes. So I like how that turned out. Again, I'm rushing through it. I would be doing way more of it, but I don't want this video to be 50 minutes long. And yeah, so next thing I do is go ahead and lower this opacity. Let me show you what it looks like before. This is what it looks like without dodge and burn, and this is what it looks like with dodge and burn. So it just kind of adds that 3D effect, you know? So I see this as a little bit harsh, especially right here, spaces like that. It's going to be a little bit harsher. Let's put some burn right here. So, there we go. A little bit more harsh. So I'm going to go ahead and lower some dodge. And then I'm going to lower the burn just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. So that's good. I like that. Kind of like how her legs turned out with that, and like how her face turned. So I like it. Looks really good. It's good enough. Again, I would be spending minutes, hours just doing dodge and burn, but I don't have time for that, and I don't think you guys have time for that either. So we're just gonna go ahead and do the next thing. So let's get into it. So the next thing I do is go ahead and shift, curl, and all these layers and just combine them. So we're going to go ahead and do that same thing. Control click and go down to merge layer. So these layers are going to be merged. So it's one layer, like it's changed. See, look how much of a dramatic change that is. Look how flat this picture is, right? And look how deeper color, deeper fall off of her face is. It just looks so much more appealing to me. Again, everybody has different editing styles. Everybody has different opinions. But I really love the fall off of her face and how beautiful that makes her skin look. So, yes. Now, we're going to get into the next part. The next part is... The next part is going to be more dealt with colors and more dealt with... not more dealt with color. Just basically color. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go back to that same screen that we were on before. That same color raw editing film. So to go back to it, we're going to go to filter. And we're going to go to camera raw filter. And click that. And it's going to take you to that same screen. It's a total different tab. So these settings are going to be all to regular, all to normal. And we can just adjust from there. I kind of like it a little bit lighter, maybe. Yes, just a little bit. -3. The tint, I'm gonna bring this up just a tad, just a very little bit, maybe +3. Exposure is pretty good, so we're gonna keep the exposure there, maybe a little bit darker, just a tad bit. Contrast is pretty good. Maybe +1. Highlights. Again, I did all this already, kind of in the dodge and burn, and in the earlier when I did the camera raw editing. So I'm not gonna mess with that much. But we're also gonna turn down the vibrance a little bit, because when you use dodge and burn and when you use curves, more of curves. When you use curves, your vibrance is gonna go up. They kind of hide the vibrance, and I kind of like it when it's neutral like that. So that's good. So we're gonna go into some of these. Let me think. I want to get rid of the green, so I kind of go into the HLO adjustments, kind of make it a little bit more yellowish, and then I go into the split toning and turn down the split toning adjustment. Sorry. So let's go to yellows. See, these are going to increase the yellows. I want to increase the yellows just a little bit, but I also want to, sorry, I just got a text. Okay, we're good. And I also want to go to calibration. And we're going to bring down these yellows. Bring down these greens in the back. So you see these make it like very vibrant. These make it very dull. I kind of love that dull look. It just looks very natural. But this is not the look that I'm going for, because she's all happy and excited. And yeah. But I do want to kick down some of these yellows. They look a little bit overwhelming. Down. A little bit overwhelming, but I do want to keep the oranges in her skin a little bit natural, so I'm going to put up this. Yep. Now she looks like, I don't know, Barney. So I'm going to kick it down to right here. +3. I don't like how that looks. You know, it's all about micro adjustments. It's all about your opinion, how you feel. Makes it looks a little bit better. So I like how that looks. So we're going to show you a little bit before and after. That's before. That's after. I like the neutral tones. And I don't like how vibrant the grass was. It was a little bit too vibrant for me. And it kind of takes away from her face, in my opinion. So yeah, that's the before and that's the after of just adding those corrections. And now we're going to hit Control J again. And we are going to start on more coloring. Another way I like to do coloring is gradient map. Gradient map is amazing. I love gradient map. And it puts colors where your highlights need to be, or puts colors where your shadows needs to be. So that's what I like about it. I kind of like fiddling around to see which ones. Oh, this looks gorgeous. I love how this looks. Sometimes the black and white gradient doesn't turn out well just because of the coloring, but this turned out really well just from one click. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to go with that. I think I'm going to go with this one. So when I put a gradient on, I do not just do it straight out. Again, it looks so disgusting. Like, why would anybody ever do that? So I like to go ahead and comb this, change the layer set out. So I'm going to turn it to soft light. See, it looks a little bit better. And I'm going to bring the opacity down to like 10. All right? 8. That looks even better. See, it's subtle, but I love how it looks. Like the little changes look. I think it looks really nice there. Yeah. So goes from that to that. And then I like to go ahead and hit another gradient adjustment and put on this one. This one I like to put it on because it puts colors in the exact right spots. It puts more color in the shadows than it does in the highlights. As you can see, this color is there, the color is there, the color is there. It kind of shows where it's going to put it, which is dope. So I'm also changing this to soft light. And I really like how this naturally looks, but I'm not going for that aesthetic. I'm going to turn it down to about 13%. And I like how that looks. Let's see. So it kind of gives her face a little bit of a shiny look. And I don't mess with the skin texture. A lot of editors put like a blur on her skin and stuff like that. All I do is patch tool it. So it's kind of naturally a little bit rougher. And I kind of like that look. So, but this kind of like softens it up naturally, if you can kind of see it. Because in the highlights, it kind of like blurs out the highlights in a way, just in color, and it just matches with her skin perfectly. So I really love how that turned out to look. Again, I'm editing this on the fly, so just FYI. So yeah, I like how that looks, and I think I'm gonna add one more gradient on it, and then I'll be finished. I'm gonna go ahead and add this purple because I want a little bit of purple in her skin because it's very greenish. If you guys can see, it's kind of hard and very subtle, but it's kind of greenish, and purple kind of combats the green look. And I think I'm gonna put it on dissolve. No, I lied. Not dissolve. Sorry, color burn. And I like to turn it all the way down to like 3. Actually, I don't want it on color burn this time. I want it on screen. So we're gonna put it on screen, so it brightens up the whole image. So let's look. That's how it look. And like that. And just gives that little purple kind of flare, you know, and it makes the whole screen a little bit brighter. And that's how I like it. And I like how this picture's turned out. And I think I'm almost finished. Let me just combine all these and click, go all the way down, and hit merge layers. And I think I'm done, y'all. I think I like how it turns out. I like the natural look. I like the color of her skins, how that kind of matches her hair, as well as very contrasty with the background. I like how the greens are very, very subtle in this. It was a little bit too vibrant in the other ones. And I like how it's just a natural little look. You know, I don't have a lot of super natural looks. This is one of the most natural looks I've ever had. So I think I like how it turned out. I think it looks gorgeous. Her face came out very, very well, and I love it, y'all. So let me just show you a before and an after of what these two photos like. So this is a before, and this is after. Before, after. Boom! And there is the final product. I had a good time making this. I had so much fun. And I've been wanting to make this video for so long. So I'm glad I finally got it done. I finally got to make the video. And I love how it turned out. The more I look at it, the more I love it. It's just great. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, just let me know. I'm in photography, videography, all that stuff. I know Photoshop, Premiere Pro, I know After Effects, I know Lightroom, I know all of that. So if you guys want to know more about that and want to learn more about it and see my creative process, just let me know. And I will catch y'all on the next one. So, peace!